Hey, good morning, gentlemen. EveryDay MGTOW here. Yeah, I know, it's been a while. I know that anyone who watches this channel is wondering where I went and where did all my content go. Well, let me answer both parts of that. When I started this channel a few years ago, I did so with the intent to help men, inform men of the dangers that they face out here in our world, with our current society and the modern succubus being what they are. As you know, I was quite diligent in bringing you frequent content, some lighthearted, some quite serious. Now, all the while, as some of you know, I was dealing with rebuilding my life after cancer and regaining my health. The cancer thing was almost 10 years ago. And while it was a cancer that really can't return, it was gallbladder cancer, and the gallbladder was removed, and so was the cancer along with it. The ramifications of all the MRIs and CAT scans really did a number on me. Mainly my thyroid, which, come to find out, is pretty much cooked. But I didn't know all that. All I knew is that I had been feeling lousy for years. And even getting through the day was becoming very difficult. Secondarily, I was on my own MGTOW journey, just as you all are. But I was trying to do so much, taking care of children, elderly parents, even making content. I found that I was exhausted and not taking enough time to focus on myself and my own personal journey. I knew while I was very close to where I wanted to be, which was monk mode, 99% of the way there, in fact, that I had stalled out somewhere along the way. I had areas that I needed to focus on and shore up. What was happening was that these modern succubi would sense and pinpoint those weaknesses in my defenses. Now, granted, they were extremely limited, but the succubus is extremely good at sniffing those weaknesses out and exploiting it for themselves. Now, it wasn't often, but it was just enough to cause some minor issues. You know, I was giving free rides to the store. People would knock on my door asking for tools and just all sorts of handouts. I would listen to these succubus crying and complaining about their existing men, and they would drone on sometimes for hours. Now, of course, I was trying to help, and I would lend advice, only to have that advice fall on deaf ears, and they would go right back to the same lifestyle after I had listened to them for hours complain about their lives. It was exhausting. Also, because as you all know, I lived in the hood ever since I lost my previous apartment when I had cancer. Almost every day, a neighbor would ask for something. It didn't matter what it was. And being the type of person I am, or at least the type of person I was at the time, I had a hard time saying no to people. Long story short, I had things that I needed to focus on. I had to get my health 100% right. I knew that if I got my health right, then my mind and money would follow suit. And also, that my channel was never monetized. I could care less about that. But I always said in my videos that if I had nothing to say, I wouldn't make content. Or if I found that my content was becoming redundant, I would put the brakes on. And that's exactly what I did. So, with all those things combined, I decided to walk away for a bit to focus on the things that I needed to accomplish in my own life. I took some time, around a year off. During this time, I was lucky enough to still have the whereabouts to get myself a new doctor who basically threw everything out the window. She said she wanted to start from scratch. She reviewed my medical history, and she started fresh with new blood work and everything. About 2 weeks later, she called me into her office where she informed me that since at least 2018, I had been suffering with Hashimoto syndrome, which basically is a non-responsive thyroid or a thyroid damaged in some form or fashion, and probably from the radiation of the MRIs and CAT scans. I essentially had no thyroid hormone in my body. Someone in 2018 had ran this test, knew of the results, but failed to do anything about it. So I've been suffering and fighting an uphill battle for more than 5 years. Once we started thyroid treatment, everything else started to fall back into place. But, enough about that. My new stance on the channel going forward will be that I will not be making content on any sort of scheduled time frame. If I feel the need to pass along information or to make an observation, then I will certainly log in and make a video to relay my experience. The world we live in doesn't care about men. So we have to take care of ourselves first and foremost. And that is something I had been failing to do. We have no choice but to be selfish. And I've learned this the hard way. Most men, when the chips are down, if we go down, very seldom is there going to be anyone there to pick us up. No. We have to pick ourselves up or die. I've said many times that we as men are alone, and I stick by that. Time and time again, in this MGTOW philosophy, the proof of this is out there for all of us to see. So that's why I say we must be selfish. And while that term does have a negative connotation, I don't see how taking care of one's self, one's needs, health, finances, relationships, our own personal infrastructures is a selfish thing, so long as we're not taking advantage of others to do so. You know, MGTOW is very simple at its core. It's men going their own way. We've seen the world, what it has and doesn't have to offer. The world said a long time ago, we don't need men. And we heard that message loud and clear. And we said, you don't need us? Okay, that's fine. Then please just leave us alone and let us walk away. And that works fine. Except when we left, we are taking our utility and resources with us. And that's the part that doesn't work well for certain types of people out there. They're fine with us walking away, but they want our service and resources to them to remain. And this isn't just limited to the succubus. It's anyone out there. The have-nots will always seek out the haves. Even if you don't have much, if you have more than they do, they will seek to take that from you. Even while I was in poor health, struggling to maintain a job, to work out, and do all the things I needed to do, society, women and men alike, would seek me out for whatever they thought they could extract from me. Being the person that I was, I had a very hard time saying no, especially in my weakened state. They knew my mental faculties weren't 100%, so they used that against me. Interestingly enough, after the diagnosis and proper medication, everything about who I was 10 years ago, the cold, logical, methodical, stoic, silent person I used to be, it all came raging back. It's almost like that guy from 10 years ago took a vacation and now just popped back in and is looking at the interceding 10 years and saying, WTF, what have you been thinking? Anyway, gentlemen, I've droned on for far too long. I know a while back I was going to produce a series, but I've decided against that in part. Instead, I'm just going to take things as they come, make no promises. I do have a cool story about something that just happened a few days ago to a friend of mine. And hopefully very soon, I'll be bringing that to you as soon as I talk to him and find out how everything finally worked out on that, although I have a pretty good idea. Anyway, guys, I've got some cycling to do, and I will catch you on the next one.